Hi everyone, welcome to Explorer Life. I've started this vlog basically just to share my experiences of travelling and adventuring with all of you, and to kind of give me an incentive to go out and do things rather than wasting time staying in, not travelling, not seeing the world. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on with today's video where we're headed to one of the most beautiful cities in all of Europe. We're headed to Prague. Just arrived at Manchester airport, and due to coronavirus everyone has to wear face coverings as procedure. It's absolutely empty in here. It's the deadest I've ever seen an airport before. It feels like no one's travelling whatsoever, but it should mean we get through quite quickly, so let's go. So we just landed in Prague 30 minutes early, which obviously is a bonus, and it's absolutely dead here. Like, there's no one around at all. We just arrived at the hotel room. It isn't much, it's just a small bed and breakfast basically. We get breakfast in the morning. It's just somewhere that we're gonna stay, because that's all you need when you're traveling abroad, is just somewhere to sleep at night. We're currently walking through Prague city centre looking for food places to eat, because none of us have eaten all day, and everywhere closes at around 10 and 11 here, and we're struggling to find somewhere to eat, so we might end up actually going hungry tonight, which none of us want. But according to Google, there is a pizza place just down the road that closes at 11, so we should make it in time, but obviously we'll find out. We've just found a pizza shop, the one we were looking for. It was a bit further than we thought it was, but we ended up getting a 20-inch pizza. It was like a meat feast, like a spicy meat feast, and got to say, it's really good. We're that hungry that we're currently just stood outside some random bar or restaurant, just eating it, because it's going cold and we've got like a 20-minute walk back to the hotel, so we're gonna carry on eating this. We've just got back from our walk around the local area, and straight away right outside the hotel there's a massive cathedral. There's also a second cathedral in the city, which is only about a 20-minute walk from here. We passed it on our way to get pizza. The pizza was fantastic. It was very cheap for the quality and the size. So if you ever come to Prague, I'd definitely recommend Johnny Pizza. We're going to call it a night now though, because it's now 10 past 12. We've had a busy day. We've had to run for trains. We've had to catch flights. So I'm going to sign off for tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning everyone. It's day 2 of Prague, and we've just gotten dressed. We're about to go down and get some breakfast and decide what we're going to do for the rest of the day. We're probably going to go check out Prague Castle, as it's relatively close to the old town, so we can check out both places at once. We're on our way to go to the castle, and we've just found what might be the most interesting sweet shop I've ever seen in my life. It's basically a mining shaft turned into a sweet shop full of gnomes, and it is just, it's very interesting, very unique. I've never seen anything quite like it. We're on our way to Prague Castle. We're on the way, we've passed through the old town square, which is a must when visiting Prague. It's got the astronomical clock, which is one of the biggest attractions in Prague, especially when it dimes on the hour, and it's such a beautiful looking square. At night it's all lit up, but we haven't seen it at night yet. We finally made it to Prague Castle. It is one of the biggest structures I've ever been in front of. It is absolutely massive. I can't fit it all in the camera at once, as I don't have a wide enough lens, but it is remarkable. It was built in the 9th century. It was occupied by the Nazis during World War II, and it also holds the Guinness World Record for the biggest ancient castle in the world. It's pretty remarkable. Opposite Prague Castle is the office for the President of the Czech Republic. Currently walking up the castle stairs to get to the top of the tower. There's 287 steps, I think it said, and we're not even halfway there yet, so we'll see you at the top. We've just made it to the top of the castle, and luckily you didn't have to climb those stairs with us because it was hard work, very steep. Wow, look at that view, it's so amazing. About to head back down 287 steps, so wish me luck. We just met two boss dogs called Remy and Brian, and two lovely people as well. The woman was from New York and the guy was from Birmingham. So we met an Englishman and an American on our trip, which was unexpected and quite lucky that we spotted the dogs, because we wouldn't have walked over and spoke to them if they didn't have dogs, so that was a bonus. We're just headed back to the hotel now. Gonna put our bags in and have a little rest because we've been walking all day, probably for the last like 6 hours maybe. So we're gonna go recuperate, put our phones on charge, put our bags in, and then in about an hour or so we're gonna go head back out towards the old town and look for somewhere to eat. We've just been back to the hotel and put our bags away. Now we're headed out to find a restaurant to eat, to get some dinner, because we're both absolutely starving. So we've got a really good view whilst eating our meal. We're currently eating our dinner and I just wanted to update you. I'm trying the traditional Czech goulash, which is absolutely incredible. It's basically a beef in a gravy with dumplings, something I've never tried, and it's very good. We just finished our meal and we're on our way back to the hotel, and on the way to the hotel we have to pass the National Museum of Prague, which is absolutely stunning. It's one of the nicest museums I've ever seen, if not one of the nicest buildings I've ever seen, especially lit up at night with its water fountain and its lights. We've just got back to the hotel and it feels like we've been walking around all day, so we're just gonna chill for the rest of the night and we'll see you in the morning. We're on to day 3 now, and we're just going down to get some breakfast before we go out for the day. To be honest, can't really be bothered with all the walking around that we have to do because I've got blisters on both feet because I decided to wear new shoes that I've never worn for walking more than 10 minutes before, so probably my fault. And I definitely won't be wearing these for any long journeys ever again. So I'll see you in a bit. Today we've decided that we're going to spend what is basically the rest of our money on going to a shooting range because we don't really get to do that at home. So whilst we've got the chance, we're going to take it. It's a bit expensive, but it's going to be fun. So we've decided to come check out the National War Museum of Prague. It's situated on top of a hill, so as you can see, it's got an amazing view. Also, the actual museum is lovely as well, and you can go on top of the roof, so I'm sure the roof will have a better view than here, so I'll see you up there. We've got to the top of the National War Museum and the view is amazing. Let you see it. We still can't find our hotel. We've been looking for it, but we can't pick it out. We know whereabouts it is. The museum's been quite good as well. It's not just about the world wars, it's also got the uprising that happened when Prague was a communist state. It's definitely been quite interesting. Like, I'd definitely come here, and if you're a student you also get a student discount. It's 120 per person for access to the museum, to the basement and to the rooftop. I'd definitely pay for the rooftop view. If you're a student you get it for 80, so you can't complain. Doesn't matter whether you're a student here or a student from abroad, they'll still give you the student discount. We're at the John Lennon Wall now, and it really puts into perspective how crazy it is, how crazy famous they were. The fact that one basically pop star has had an influence on a whole country enough to basically get a shrine dedicated to himself for his beliefs in peaceful protest. We've just finished eating from a restaurant, and we decided that we were going to try one of the traditional ice creams from the Czech Republic. It's called Tradelnik, and it's basically a donut with ice cream in. It's like rolled and cooked over hot stoves. It looks quite good, and it's fairly big, to be fair. Bit of advice: don't get one of these straight after you've had a 2-course meal, because it's a lot bigger than it looks, so you'll struggle like I am right now. We've just got up and we're about to go down and get some food. It's our last day, so we're going to get ready when we get back up here and then head over to the zoo to check it out, because it's meant to be quite big. Once we've done that, we'll head to the airport and then go home. the giraffe enclosure, and you can't really appreciate the absolute gigantic size of them until you stood right underneath one. We decided to stop for a bite to eat. I'll show you this way. Just got a sausage and Jack's got a hot dog. Just trying to get rid of all our money, to be honest. And we thought the zoo's probably the best place to get rid of it, since it's going to the animals. One of the birds have escaped, so I don't know if that happens quite often. I feel like it does because they don't really have a fence or a cage. Just allowed to wander around the zoo whenever they want. We're in the kangaroo sanctuary because you're allowed to go in, and literally we're a foot away from them. It's amazing. Well, if you come to Prague, you definitely need to come to Prague Zoo and go to the kangaroo enclosure because it's amazing. Arrived at Prague airport and it's about 4:45 in the afternoon. No one's travelling, so if you want to go on holiday or you want to travel, the best time to do it is now. Like, you don't have to wait in any queues. You can turn up at the airport like an hour before instead of 2 or 3 and just fly through. I think we just got through in 5 minutes maybe, so definitely the best time to travel. I've been back a few days now and I just wanted to recap my experience with Prague and give you an idea of what's good about it and why you should go there. Firstly, I want to talk about the aesthetic of Prague, as the city looked outstanding. It had castles and cathedrals, and even the apartments were nice. It had that classic European feel where there was balconies everywhere, but it wasn't like the old rustic feel like Spain and Italy have, where the streets are quite narrow. It was quite open and modern, but yet it still felt European. Next, I want to talk about things to do. Prague is absolutely full of things to do. You've got museums, zoos, gun ranges, restaurants and bars. You'll have plenty to do whilst you're over there, and public transport is fairly cheap too, at about £3 per day. So if you need to venture out of the city centre to go to like the zoo, it's only going to cost you a few pounds. The last thing I want to talk about is the price. Prague's fairly cheap. It might not be as cheap as some Eastern European countries, but it is fairly cheap for the food, drinks and the public transport. For example, you can get a beer over there for about £1.50, which compare that to England and you're paying around £3 for the same thing. The food is also slightly cheaper than the likes of England, but not by much. I'd say maybe a few pounds, but obviously it adds up if you're there for a few days, so on the whole it is fairly cheap. So there's my opinions on Prague. If you're looking for a city break or a long weekend away that isn't going to break the bank, then Prague's definitely a good option. Anyway, that's the end of today's video. If you liked it, please leave a like and a comment, and if you didn't, then tell me why. And remember, keep exploring.